Despair, madness, tragedy, and death. Those four words are most commonly used when talking about almost every character in Soulsborne. They are broken and discarded, just like the world they inherited. But from time to time we get a character with an almost happy ending. This time, it's the Undertaker, the newest addition to Elden Ring Nightreign. Let's start from the beginning. The Undertaker is a nun who was sent to the Round Table Hold by her church to slay the Night Lord. She isn't just a nun though, she is cursed with the Loathsome Hex, a curse that provides her with immense power, but at a cost. We will come to that in a moment. Her powers caused her a great deal of pain, as everyone around her is terrified by her powers. This led others to keep her at a distance, and eventually assign her to the undesirable task of burying the dead, hence the Undertaker. Chapter 1 talks about her departure. It reads as follows. A sky of clouds. In the distance, the sun breaks through only to disappear again. Go to the place where they await you. Only there will you find your salvation. The Father told me that those were the words of our God. I think he was seizing an opportunity to be rid of me, loathsome thing that I am. I do not fault him for it. This is as straightforward as it gets, but I want you to keep in mind the first line, which talks about the clouds and the sun, as this is a recurring motif that has a reflection on the story. The clouds blocking the rays of the sun communicates the lack of hope that the Undertaker feels. Chapter 2 provides additional context and reveals a horrible truth about the powers of the Undertaker. It reads as follows. A sky of clouds. They seem to be making their way across the sky with greater speed than usual. My whole life has been a loathsome affair. I have no parents or family to call my own. At the monastery, the other children shunned me, as did the adults. I hunted beasts in the woods, partook of their flesh and blood, and was feared. As I grew, I learned that my constitution required a constant stream of power to consume. Once, I tried to resist, but the shakes and pain became unbearable. As the delirium reached its zenith, I had bitten my own arm without knowing. Living was hard, but choosing death was unthinkable. Since then, I have lived the span of many lives, yet nobody understands me. I remain alone. We have a lot to go over here. First, the cloud motif appears once again, and again they block the sun. Next, we learn a little about the Undertaker's life. She is an orphan that was raised in the monastery. All the other children feared her because of her power and therefore she was shunned. Next, we learn that the curse requires a constant stream of power. Back in the monastery, the Undertaker relied on hunting beasts and consuming them to keep her hunger at bay. She was basically a power addict. This becomes really clear when we look at the next lines. Her withdrawal symptoms appears, shakes, pain, and even self-harm. The chapter ends by emphasizing the Undertaker's loneliness. Chapter 3 is where the action starts with our first remembrance quest. It reads as follows. A sky of clouds. The foaming waves appear darkest grey. The power of the night spreads across the land. To me, it feels like a blessing and a curse. Its taste is bitter and it makes me nauseous. Yet somehow it soothes my ever-churning mind. I wonder, will I change too? If I overcome this night, what if I remain the same? I don't want to relinquish this power the night has brought. Ah, that reminds me. I believe the Iron Menial said he had an important task for me today. In this chapter we learn of the new source of power the Undertaker feeds on. The night. Being hooked on the power of the night was a dilemma for the Undertaker. On one hand, she wants to end the night, but on the other, she doesn't want to give up on its power. Now we can start the remembrance quest. The quest starts with the Iron Menial stating that the Undertaker overindulged in the night and therefore must be killed. And for the first time in Nightreign, the Iron Menial shows his teeth. We make a quick work of him though. After that, we are required to kill all the other Nightfarers except the Scholar. After we kill them, the Iron Menial voice appears once more, asking us to stop. The Undertaker snaps back to reality only to realize that it was all in her imagination. Nobody tried to kill her. Now, let's take a look at what happened. Well, we already knew that the Undertaker may be a little weird, but to be honest, I don't know who is more weird, the Undertaker or the boys back at the FromSoft office. Anyways, at the end, we hear footsteps of a mysterious character. In matter of fact, this exact event can be seen from the perspective of another Nightfarer, the Scholar. We already know what is happening here. As we discovered earlier, the Undertaker is addicted to feeding on a source of power. Now, after being caught by the Scholar, he kinda blackmails the Undertaker. The Scholar wants to leave the Round Table Hold for a while to investigate something, and so he needs a cover-up story. Therefore, he makes a deal with the Undertaker. He will keep her secret if she agrees to help him fake his death. She will tell everyone that the Scholar died and didn't reawaken at the Hold. As a proof, he left her his leather monocle case. Chapter 4 explains it further. It reads as follows. A sky of clouds, humid and stifling. He saw me. I am lucky it was only the Scholar. He can be trusted. As long as I do as he says, it will be all fine. I'm also having hallucinations, as if everyone were frightened of me. I'm starting to believe it might be true. I feel sick. The melancholy is growing to be too much. But when I clutch the leather case I was given, it grants me respite from my thoughts. This chapter summarizes what happened during the quest. It's worth noting that paranoia is a very common symptom related to substance abuse. That's what the Undertaker is going through. But after being given the Scholar's leather case, it actually gives her a feeling of comfort. Chapter 5 is where our second remembrance quest takes place. It reads as follows. A sky of clouds. Seabirds sing in the distance. It's been several days since the Scholar disappeared from the Round Table Hold. He must have been serious. The priestess is trying to gather information as to his whereabouts. She believed him dedicated to her cause. His sudden absence puzzles her. Rare though it is, this is not the first time a Nightfarer has disappeared. All I can do is remain true to our bargain. This chapter is straightforward, except for a very ambiguous line. This is not the first time a Nightfarer has disappeared. This line can mean many things. Perhaps it's talking about the Scholar and the Undertaker being cut from the Round Table before the DLC. Or perhaps it's talking about the other Nightfarers that fell to the night. But I think the best candidate is Wilder. Nightreign starts with him going back to the Hold after being cut off and losing his memory. Now we can start the remembrance quest. We start the quest by talking to the priestess. She asks if we know anything about the Scholar's disappearance, as we were the last one to see him. The Undertaker denies, but then folds under pressure. She replies saying that she cannot say, which means she knows something but willingly refuses to give information. The priestess understands. Then the Undertaker prays, saying that she failed to uphold her promise to the Scholar. After that, she feels compelled to search for him. This is where the second part of the quest comes into play. This next part is heavily connected to the Scholar's quest, so if you want to know the full story, check my video on the Scholar's story. Also consider hitting that like and subscribe button if you are enjoying this video. During the scholar's remembrance, we go and search for an artifact called the cleansing tear. The scholar actually finds it in the Great Hollow, but after learning a certain truth about it, he falls into despair. In this state of despair, he falls into a near-death experience and gets trapped in a crystal. Fortunately for him, the Undertaker during her quest comes and rescues his primal core. This primal core is his very own being, and therefore, by taking it, the Undertaker saved him from his death. This act really enforced the connection between both characters. At the end of the quest, we go back to the hold where we talk to the reawakened scholar once more. After thanking the Undertaker, he gives her a crystal he found in the Great Hollow. This crystal should help the Undertaker with her addiction. After that comes the most important piece of the Undertaker's quest. The scholar asks her to stand witness to his legacy. He claims that one day his kind will ask for answers, and the Undertaker would be the one to answer them. You see, the scholar isn't human and he will soon die. And so he wants the Undertaker to be his successor. Chapter 6 reads as follows. A sky of clouds, the wind is wrong. The scholar has returned. I'm surprised he has regained his form, considering what he was reduced to. As I wiped my mouth of the stains of the night, I began to ponder. Was I attempting to atone for my sins? I cannot say for certain. He knew my secret. Perhaps I was simply scared. Though I failed to uphold my promise, he chose me a second time. I can only assume he saw some use in me yet. I feel a calmness when holding the glass he gave me. Perhaps this will help me overcome the hunger without feasting on the succor of the night. In this chapter, the Undertaker goes over what happened during the second remembrance quest. She again doubts herself and wonders why the scholar have chosen her once more, despite that she is a failure in her own eyes. She then wonders if the crystal can help her with her addiction to the night. Now, to unlock chapter 7, we actually need to defeat the Night Lord and do something very specific. After defeating the Night Lord, we are teleported to the hold and we find a mysterious object in our inventory. The dismembered finger of the primordial Night Lord himself. You may ask, how did we acquire such an item? Well, the Undertaker severed it to eat it. She is already addicted to the power of the night, so imagine what would happen if she ate the primordial Night Lord's finger. But no, she resisted. For her entire life, the Undertaker felt worthless. She had no purpose in life, only a freak that people feared. Only one person believed in her, the scholar. He even gave her a purpose. She was his successor, the one that would carry on his legacy after he passed. With that purpose in mind and the crystal he gave her in hand, she discards the dismembered finger. Yes, she can't get rid of her curse, but through discarding the finger, she actually empowered her crystal. The crystal now holds the stable power of the night inside of it, and it became the glass necklace. It reads as follows. A string threaded through a crystal corroded by night. Inside are the floating, wavering signs of night. The power exuded by the necklace is meager, but stable. Grasping it gives its owner an uncanny sense of calm. The promise gave her purpose, and it made it possible to hold on to the necklace. This necklace would allow the Undertaker to keep her hunger at bay without feeding on the night, and therefore she defeated her addiction. Chapter 7 reads as follows. A sky of clouds, a few rays of sunlight peek through. My life had been a loathsome affair. Those around me kept their distance as I moved from place to place. At times, I was pressed into battle and piled the corpses high. What could be a path to peace had been offered to me, and the sacrifices would be worth it. For me, with little else but bloodshed to call a talent, perhaps I had found my purpose. I have come to believe it is now. This chapter sums it all up. Remember the recurring motif that I told you to keep in mind? Now, a few rays of sunlight peek through, signifying hope and warmth. The Undertaker found her purpose, and her remembrance skin features her wearing the glass necklace around her neck. No more addiction, no more bloodshed. Despite that it's not a perfect ending, as she didn't get rid of the Loathsome Hex, this is a beautiful ending. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and tell me what you think in the comments down below. Until next video, farewell, fellow Tarnished.